and those challenges within the economy are likely going to have an impact in the ability of people to do business, and also to a large extent it is going to impact also on the consumer side.
Is the business still salvageable? Is there something that can be done? And really going into that gear of, speaking to the lenders, escalating the issue, where can we cut costs, really thinking about the genuine options. And I think that's what we don't see.
In a move aimed at supporting women in mitigating the effects of climate change, KCB Bank has rolled out a project that will see over 30% financing through the bank going to women. Through a partnership with Propago, a subsidiary of Agency Franco de Development AFD Group, signed a 95 million credit line on the sidelines of the 2024 Africa CEO Forum in Kigali. And in the agricultural sector, 20 groups of horticultural farmers have received water pumps courtesy of Siaya County government.
The event today to distribute the water pumps to youth groups will go a long way in helping our youth groups to engage in agriculture, to now do 24/7, 12-month agricultural enterprises.
Machines are expensive. Each one is about 45,000 shillings complete set. And we are giving them out to farmers. But we also want to make sure that the farmers use them, because we know the group dynamics. Group dynamics can play against a big investment, which can end up being rendered helpless or useless. So we must put in some controls.
The water pumps were given to women and youth groups that are involved in the horticultural sector. The water pumps have been given out in trust, and the farmers will therefore be required to sign a memorandum of understanding with the county government to own the equipment until after the lease period, that the items shall be surrendered to the respective groups.
We are giving them to use them for the first 3 years as we monitor and see how they use them and how these machines are impacting their life.
These waters or the floods should be conserved in dams, in water ponds, and can be used for both domestic and agricultural use.
Linda Koskei, K24.
A recent conference in Nairobi showcased technology to help people with disabilities. According to the United Nations, more than 80 million people in Africa have one or more disabilities.
Edwin Omulama is one of millions of people living with disabilities in Africa. He is here today to learn how technology can assist him in moving without the aid of someone or his walking stick. A device attached to his feet can prevent collisions, safeguarding him from injuries.
Many people are able to know us from the use of the walking stick, but with the cameras, people will not understand us, and they will think that we are normal and will be operating as normal people. And I believe it will help us to be more independent when it comes to walking, identifying of objects.
At the Inclusive Africa Conference, at least 20 innovators displayed technologies designed to improve the independence of persons with disabilities. According to the United Nations, more than 80 million people in Africa are disabled. By 2050, 3.5 billion worldwide will need assistive technology. The devices displayed here are designed to address disabilities, from aiding communication for people with verbal and vision impairments to facilitating easier movement. Faustina Urasa from Tanzania says being assisted into a vehicle can be very upsetting.
There are times when someone touches you in a way that makes you uncomfortable. But with this mode of transport, it helps preserve our dignity. I'm relieved that I won't have to be carried and touched anymore. Now I can enter the vehicle with respect and sit comfortably. It brings me immense joy.
Access to assistive technology is poor in Africa and is blamed on poverty, the environment, lack of knowledge, and lack of support services and service providers. Organizers and participants at the conference held in Nairobi this week discussed the challenges they face as disabled individuals and the costs and opportunities in assistive technology.
We also want to unlock the Africa AT ecosystem and assist African countries and innovators in developing policies and funding structures that can help innovation thrive in Africa. We also want to empower youth with disabilities with the right information, tools, and opportunities to become digital accessibility champions across the continent.
As the conference ends, those living with disabilities and their advocates hope their voices will be heard and be supported by getting tools to better their lives.
Now, across the border, more of South Africa's youth are joining politics to drive change in the country. The youth say they are losing faith in the older generation who have failed to bring the change they promised.
They are unable to nurture this tree of democracy any longer.
27-year-old Mangera was not even born when South Africa held its first post-apartheid democratic elections 30 years ago this month. He believes that the younger generation needs to participate in the political process and run for an office so that they can create change in their country.
Lots of young people are disillusioned and actually feel like the system is not geared in their favor, and rightfully so, because you see a parliament full of old people, you see no genuine youth representation in leadership, and so you feel like you have no place, and so it is very difficult.
Mangera began his career as a youth activist and community organizer. He helped to form the National Youth Coalition, a collection of young activists who focused on climate change, anti-racism, service delivery, and democracy-building initiatives. Mangera has recently entered politics by co-founding a new political party called Rise Mzansi. It's a party which encourages active citizenry and has promoted young people into its leadership positions. According to research done by the Parliamentary Monitoring Group, people aged between 15 and 34 constitute over 63% of South Africa's population, yet they hold only 9% of parliamentary seats. The average age of members who currently occupy parliament seats is 59. There is a growing call for more youth representation in South African politics ahead of the general election on the 29th of May.
This journey I've been on has showed me that the system has to change to create more representation and genuine representation, not just tokenist approach to dealing with this problem. But also the barrier is that young people need to take ourselves seriously. Once we do that, we find that we can support one another, we can build enough power to actually elect some of our own selves into leadership positions.
South Africa's state media, quoting an official with the Independent Electoral Commission, reports that 42% of voters eligible to vote in the upcoming elections are aged between 18 and 39 years, a significant voting bloc that could boost the chances of young political aspirants. Despite 30 years of democracy, young South Africans are discontented with the country's soaring youth unemployment rate. According to the government's own record, the unemployment rate was at 32% in the fourth quarter of 2023. During that period, unemployment for youth aged between 15 and 34 increased to 44%.
We've not seen youth issues being taken seriously around drugs, around the fact that there's barely support for recreation, sports and arts and cultural work. You're seeing lack of appreciation and support for young people who are saying to society and to the leadership that we are becoming increasingly hopeless, that our education and opportunities to upskill ourselves aren't there.
Although the Electoral Commission, which oversees the elections, has embarked on a campaign to get more young people registered to vote, recent figures indicate that almost 14 million people remain unregistered, the majority of whom are young people. Young politicians like Mangera believe that the youth need to drive the change in South Africa's political system.
We need to make sure we contest the arena of politics. We can't scream from the outside in. We have to be the ones leading the change inside. For too long, we've been screaming outside inwards, hoping that the politicians change. What we need now is more of us inside, fighting that fight, so that we can also inspire our generation towards a new mission that builds a safe, equal, united and prosperous country.
We rise! We rise! Together!
As the election draws closer, Mangera and his newly formed political party will face a challenging environment as they attempt to compete with older and more established political parties like the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance.
And that update draws Newscut to a close. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Harriet Chime, and our sign language interpreter has been Walter Ase. Good afternoon and see you at 9 p.m.